Maestro is a brand new Netflix original from that just hit the streaming service this past week. It tells the true story of legendary composer Leonard Bernstein as we go through his life through multiple decades, but mainly focusing on his relationship with his wife, Felicia, played by Carey Mulligan. The film, Bernstein is played by Bradley Cooper, who also directed the film and also co-wrote the film with Oscar-winning screenwriter Josh Singer, who won the Oscar for writing Spotlight. Also movie and supporting performances is Matt Bomer as one of Lenny's first love interests in the first act of the movie. Um, Maya Hawke is also turning a supporting role as Bernstein's oldest child. And Sarah Silverman also is in the movie as Bernstein's sister. The film is 2 hours and 9 minutes long and is rated R. Welcome back to a brand new movie review here on Max Talks With. My name is Max Sinnerberg. Today we're talking about Maestro. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, ring the bell. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers very quickly. We're getting really close. Would love you guys to subscribe, ring that bell for notifications. I do these types of movie reviews, TV show reviews, every single Monday. I do a box office breakdown show. I also do movie rankings, which I will be doing very soon as we're going to do end of the year rankings in the next week. So stay tuned for that. Comment down below. What are your thoughts on Maestro? Do you prefer Maestro or do you prefer A Star is Born? Do you think this was an Oscar-bait film or do you truly think this is a great movie? Let me know in the comment section down below. We'll have a fun discussion with you guys. And also, please like the video, the thumbs up button. That's how you support this channel. So please hit that like button as well. So I was very excited about this movie. I'm a big fan of Bradley Cooper. I really did love A Star is Born. And again, it might be a hot take. I believe he was robbed of an Oscar that year. The year that he was nominated for A Star is Born, he lost to Rami Malek. Cooper did not get nominated for Best Director. It's a film that did get a lot of nominations, but he was not one of them. But again, Cooper's been a guy who has been nominated for 4 Academy Awards, both for different as producers and for acting. But it's amazing to see come out of that shell, which he was in for so long, for just being kind of the hangover guy, to becoming now, in my opinion, one of the best actors working today. So once again, I was pumped to see his next directorial starring film, and that's what we have here. So let me get into my thoughts on Maestro. Now, overall, this is and really is a very good movie. And it comes down to the way the film is directed by Cooper and the performances. The movie goes through multiple decades. We go through the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, even all the way up to the 90s in this movie. And the film is sometimes in black and white, and parts of the movie are also in color. But it is just a gorgeous movie to look at. And Bradley Cooper, I think, is even stronger than his performance is his direction in this movie. It's a gorgeous film from start to finish. You feel the wonder of wanting to be a composer in the early parts of the movie because of the shot choices and decisions that are made by Bradley Cooper from behind the camera. He's really phenomenal directing this movie. And it's a movie that is so well made from start to finish. That's, I think, the biggest positive with Maestro. Equally as big of a positive are these two ridiculously great lead performances. Now, while Cooper is getting a lot of the attention as he should, he's the writer, director, and star. Carey Mulligan, for me, is the strongest performance of the film and is easily one of the best performances, male or female, of the entire year. She plays Felicia, who is Leonard Bernstein's longtime wife, and they have a lot of ups and downs in their relationship. And the movie centers, instead of focusing on Bernstein's career and working on projects, we focus on their romance from the early days all the way through the end of their lives. And Mulligan is terrific in the film. And I found we'll get to that as a kind of a problem with the movie, but I was a lot more interested actually as into Felicia than I was in actually Bernstein himself as the movie kept moving forward. And Mulligan delivers a powerful performance in the last 45 minutes of the movie when she begins to get sick. And it is an unbelievable, authentic performance, and it's easily, there's like a couple scenes just back to back and you're like, wow, how do you beat her in award season? Carey Mulligan's phenomenal in this movie. Bradley Cooper is also excellent in this film. I don't think this is a stronger performance for me than he was in A Star is Born, but he is excellent in the film as Bernstein. Sometimes the prosthetics can be a bit distracting in some of the decades that we are in, but the performance is there by Cooper. And I think his performance is actually really strong in the openings of the movie when we get to understand his wonder of the type of music that he wants to compose. And also towards the third act, there are a couple scenes where we finally get to see Bernstein get to actually compose. And there's one in the third act of the movie, which is one of the best scenes you'll see in a movie all year long. It's an outstanding performance by Cooper, who obviously learned all the tricks he needs to do to be able to be like Bernstein as a composer, put on a performance, but you also can feel the underlying emotion with Bernstein, with that performance that you get in the third act of the movie. And it's one of the best scenes I've seen in a movie all year long. Another huge positive with the movie for me is that the last like 45 minutes, the third act of this movie, is perfect in my opinion. It is fantastic with great scenes of Carey Mulligan, who obviously when Felicia gets sick, that becomes a really great stable for Carey Mulligan's performance. But as I said, that Cooper third act, it's a phenomenal third act. And I think you really feel the romance the best in that third act of the movie with Felicia and Bernstein. Now, while there's some unbelievable scenes and unbelievable performances, I do think the movie can be a bit disjointed because it's trying to fit so much, really Bernstein's entire life from age 25 until death into a 2-hour movie. And there are times from a writing perspective where I think the movie does falter. The biggest problem for me with the movie is that there's an element where we have a huge fight and it looks like we have a separation between Felicia and Bernstein, and then they just come back together. It feels like the next scene. And I think the movie doesn't give a good enough breathing point in between when Felicia and Bernstein have their ups and downs. I just feel like it's a super high or it's super low with their romance. And at times, I think the movie should have had a little bit more quiet time with the two of them as the decades go on. But because the movie needs to go from the 50s to the 60s to the 70s, the movie sometimes struggles to find more quiet time within those moments with Bernstein and Felicia. As I said, I think Felicia for me was a more interesting character because she's a fascinating way to look at someone who is in awe of the greatness of their significant other. And I think a lot of people feel this if you're man or woman, just either the jealousy, the awe, and really what Leonard did to kind of put his family in such bad positions because of his greatness, because of his kind of inspirational work, he didn't really have the time for a lot for his family. And the fact when you're related to someone or you're married to someone with that greatness, you do want the time to spend with them. And that the ups and downs of that I like, but I think the movie could have focused a lot more on that. I think they tried to implement Maya Hawke a bit in this movie as the daughter, but again, an interesting storyline where she brings up the rumors of Bernstein's true life sexuality to her own father. And it's a great scene, but then it's kind of we kind of just move on from the rest of the movie. I have a very similar problem, which I have with this than I have with Rustin, which is the way it handles its sexuality. Both are again, they're not handling the fact that both obviously Rustin, but also Bernstein was also gay or homosexual. I just think the romance with Matt Bomer in the beginning of the movie, I just wasn't a big fan of. Didn't like the chemistry there, and I just didn't feel any emotional weight with that romance in the beginning of the movie. And as it just went on, it just felt like rinse and repeat. I think we could have spent a little bit more time either with one of the romances that Bernstein has with a man, or just center focus on Felicia. It's an important element of Bernstein's life that obviously he was gay, or some people don't know if he was gay or just bi. But I just think they could have done a better job with the romances with men as the movie went on, instead of just having scenes with the men just to have Felicia just be pissed off. I just felt like it was used to just fuel Felicia being negative towards Leonard in some parts of the movie. I think they could have just handled that a little bit better. But overall, yes, this is a really good movie. I wanted to think it's a great movie, but I think the writing sometimes gets in its way of fitting a man's entire life into 2 hours. I think we could have had a little bit more focus on Bernstein's music. The movie goes so heavy on the romance. I think there were times where I think they could have. I would have loved to see the behind the scenes of Bernstein making a couple projects. But overall, it's an excellent film with two award-worthy performances with Cooper and especially Carey Mulligan, who gives one of the best performances of the year. Cooper's direction is fantastic. I mean, this is a gorgeous film to start to finish, but I think the writing did have a bit of a problem as the movie went on. And I think the third act is so much better than the rest of the movie. It does feel like the first two acts aren't as great as what we get in the third act. So overall, I'm going to give Maestro a 3.5 out of 5, a 74%. What are your thoughts on Maestro? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is this an awards bait film? Let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you soon.